Hello everyone. By now I'm sure that you know I am JJ Dixon and I am the president of the Jacksonville Brotherhood of Police Officers. I wanted to take an opportunity to thank you all for joining in with us throughout this Black History Month series. We have received so much good and positive feedback, and I'm just so happy that so many of you took the time out of your busy schedules to learn about the history of African Americans in policing in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, I know that some of you are wondering why on earth would they choose to do this series. Well, please indulge me for a moment and let me explain. Well, as I shared earlier on in the series, it was initially started, first of all, for us to commemorate and memorialize our own history. Secondly, the idea came about because we wanted to give some of those who had experiences the opportunity to share their lived experiences with everyone, whether those experiences were good, bad, or ugly. And so we thought it was important to do just that. But also, on a personal note, I'd like to say that I'm so happy that we decided to do this series because I think that many people feel that implicit bias and racism is far removed from the society that we live in today. But let me just say that as an African American female, I'm old enough to remember not understanding why my fourth grade teacher was so mean to me and would often call me Leslie. I remember asking my mother why the teacher would call me Leslie when my name didn't even start with an L. One day, I got up the nerve to ask the teacher, and she told me that Leslie was a woman by the name of Leslie Uggams. I later found out that that was no compliment. You see, Leslie Uggams had played the part of Kizzy in the movie Roots. In that movie, she suffered tremendously, and I had seen the movie. I'm also old enough to remember when my father was arrested by a white police officer at his own home for literally leaning on the officer's police car after he had been told that if he leaned on it once again after the first time, that he would go to jail. I can still remember seeing him being hauled off in the back of that police car for leaning on it. I'm also old enough to remember the time when I was 9 years old, same year as the Kizzy incident, and my mother and I had gone to camping with the Girl Scouts, the troop that I was a part of. And I can remember that there was an activity taking place in the evening, and I was told that I needed to go back to the cabin and sweep. I happened to be the only African American child that was at the camp. I went back to the cabin and I began to sweep, and no, my mother did not go with me because she often tended to see the best in people. So I was sweeping the cabin, and one of the white children, one of the white girls, came to the cabin where I was, and she yelled as loud as she could inside the cabin, "Sweep, N-word, sweep." Well, a fight ensued, obviously, and my mother and I were told that we needed to leave the camp. I remember that like it was yesterday. I also remember as an adult driving my vehicle in the 90s. I was a police officer then. I was driving on one of the local highways when I was stopped by another officer. I was told that I was being stopped because my tag did not match my vehicle. When I told him that I was aware that it did match because I was actually a law enforcement officer and I had in fact ran my own tag before, his comment to me almost apologetically was, "I really stopped you because you looked like you could be a drug dealer's girlfriend." So having shared my encounters with you, I hope that this helps you to understand why it was important for some of us to do this, because we're old enough to remember or to know someone or to have known someone who remembered, as Pastor Newman and Chris Robinson shared their stories about their grandmothers and their great-grandmothers being either born into slavery or sharing stories with them. We are old enough to remember these things, and I think it's important that we're allowed to share our truths and our experiences and to share how we were able to overcome the feelings that these experiences gave us. Last, this series has allowed us to show our youth that resilience, excellence, and strength is within them. They were born with it, and they will die with it. In closing, again, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be a part of our audience. It has truly been my esteemed and distinct honor and pleasure to serve as the host. Please go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We will be putting out more information throughout the days, the weeks, the months, and the years to come, and we want to make sure that you're plugged into what we're doing. Thank you so much. It has been an honor, and continue to be blessed.